My name is H.A. Goodman, and I'm an author, columnist, and journalist. Hit subscribe right now. Everything that I've been saying for, since 2016 is slowly happening. Everything that I've been saying regarding the Mueller probe, from the moment that James Comey leaked his queasy memos, I stated that nothing will come of this in terms of impeachment for Trump. There are people on the left saying, Trump's going to get impeached within his first 6-7 months. That did not happen. They were saying that Flynn was going to flip, and we'll get to Flynn in a second. He's an honorable man who was set up and framed. That Papadopoulos was going to flip, that Carter Page was going to flip, that Manafort was going to flip, that Michael Cohen was going to flip. Michael Cohen flipped, but had nothing to do with, there were no campaign finance violations. Bradley Smith, the Federal Election Commission chairman, in the Washington Post wrote, these aren't campaign finance violations. So the former FEC chairman said, payments to people who signed confidentiality agreements are not campaign finance violations, especially if Trump would have made those payments at any other point in his life, which he did and he would have. Furthermore, the Access Hollywood tape shows that Trump could have won the election with or without knowledge of whatever happened with the women. The issue with Michael Flynn is this. Judge Emmett Sullivan has already thrown out. There's already a precedent with this judge. This judge will not stand for federal prosecutors withholding evidence. Why do you think James Comey, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, Andrew McCabe, why do you think they withheld evidence? Why do you think a 302, a summary that was just given to the court just a day before sentencing, so we'll find out in a couple of hours. And if he throws out the case, which I think that there's a good likelihood he will, oh my God, it's game over. Regardless, it doesn't matter if he throws it out or no jail time, because obviously Michael Flynn was set up. It's still going to essentially destroy the Mueller probe. Because the whole thing, the reason the Mueller probe exists is because James Comey's queasy memo stated that, the president might have been obstructing justice. He told me that to take it easy on Flynn. Because Michael Flynn spoke to Sergei Kislyak. And once he spoke to Kislyak about actually the Russians not retaliating against us because of the ridiculous sanctions from a CrowdStrike assessment that said, they hacked the DNC to inform the country that Bernie Sanders was cheated, thus giving Hillary Clinton the popular vote but hurting her in swing states. If that makes sense to you, you are a brainwashed Democrat. Democrats also have their conspiracy theories. It's called Trump Russia. We'll get to you-know-what way later in this segment. But Judge Emmett Sullivan is on record. He has a history of throwing out cases. I'll get to, before we get to the fact that Mueller team turned over missing Flynn interview documents after judge's order. So this is everything you need to know regarding the duplicity of the Mueller team. A former senior Justice Department official who now works as a criminal defense attorney predicted Sullivan would notice that the 302 submitted Friday was dated 7 months after the Flynn interview took place. Can I ask you a question, ladies and gentlemen? Even though this is an upload, let's make it interactive. Why did the FBI summarize notes? They're called 302s, the summaries of their interactions with Michael Flynn or anyone they speak to. Why did they write a 302, a summary of the Flynn setup, 7 months after it took place? That's essentially a new 302. In the comments section, why? Obviously, it was part of the setup. Obviously, they had to write a new summary with it's highly redacted. So he got a highly redacted. Judge Emmett Sullivan got a highly redacted 302 that was written 7 months after the initial contact between FBI agents. And by the way, Michael Flynn was set up. That you want to talk about having the pulse of what's going on, okay? H.A. Goodman is not an intelligence officer. I'm not inside the U.S. government letting people know what's really going on. No, I'm telling you right here, and I've been telling you, pretty much have the pulse of what's going on. I told you the second that Trump turned his back on Michael Flynn that it would come back to bite Trump in the tuchus, and it did. They utilized Michael Flynn's setup and then subsequent pleading guilty to lying to the FBI because they were going to go after his son. His son was with him when he was speaking to Sergei Kislyak, which is, by the way, what a national security advisor should do. Okay, he did his job. He didn't preside over a uranium sale. No, that was President Obama. Well, cash flowed to the Clinton Foundation amid Russian uranium deal. Verbatim New York Times article. Oh, but let's not talk about that. What they did was they told him not to bring an attorney. They said it was just a discussion. He had no idea who was being framed. He had no idea it was an actual criminal investigation where he was being targeted based on nothing, and where the process crime was what their goal. All they wanted to do, they knew he didn't do anything wrong because they had already looked at the transcripts. They bugged his phone. They wiretapped him. They did everything they needed to do. He didn't sell any secrets. He didn't do, heaven forbid, anything horrible. He was fine. He was cleared by the FBI and the intelligence community. He was the head of the Defense Intelligence Agency under President Obama. He was President Obama's intel chief, one of his intel chiefs, okay? He did nothing wrong. They had to get him on some kind of technicality. So they said, you were lying to the FBI. It wasn't even really a lie. It wasn't a lie it wasn't a lie at all, actually. It wasn't a lie that had to do, or it wasn't a statement that contradicted anything related to a criminal probe or to crimes he committed. So he did not commit any crimes. We still don't know a crime that Trump is said to have committed. We still don't have a crime with terms of Trump-Russia. The whole thing is the Steele dossier, which is complete and utter nonsense. BuzzFeed is suing the DNC, and they're getting sued by very wealthy Russians for defamation. Carter Page, Manafort, Michael Cohen, they never spoke to Russian intelligence officers regarding some grandiose plot. That's what the Steele dossier states. It's fantasy. It's Democratic fan fiction. It's fantasy. Okay? Purchased by Hillary Clinton. We found out the other day that Christopher Steele testified that, he was hired. He was hired literally for a political purpose. And the FBI used that document, and John Brennan of the CIA used that document to create all of this madness. What they did was they created an investigation, and because of the gigantic monstrosity of government, when bureaucracy moves a certain way, there doesn't have to be a crime. Wouldn't it be nice if Trump fought back? Wouldn't it be nice? But anyway, the point is, Judge Emmett Sullivan has a history of taking people to task regarding prosecutors who withhold evidence. Now, a cautionary tale, the Ted Stevens prosecution. This is dcbar.org. In 2009, the government tried to frame, the government withheld evidence from Ted Stevens. Judge Emmett Sullivan threw the case out. Could you imagine tomorrow the pandemonium when Judge Emmett Sullivan throws the case out? A cautionary tale that Ted Stevens' prosecution on April 7, 2009. This is the dcbar.org. Judge Emmett G. Sullivan of the United States District Court. This is Michael Flynn's judge. This is the judge in the Mueller probe. He's the judge who's overseeing Mueller's prosecutors hiding evidence. Okay? I don't speak in riddles. I don't speak in tongues. I don't speak in questions. I tell you straight up. Judge Emmett Sullivan was the judge that presided over the Ted Stevens prosecution. tossed the Ted Stevens case because he knew the federal government was withholding exculpatory evidence. I'll read you. This is the dcbar.org. On April 7, 2009, Judge Emmett G. Sullivan of the United States District Court of the District of Columbia unleashed his fury before a packed courtroom. For 14 minutes, he scolded, he chastised, he fumed. In nearly 25 years on the bench, he said, "I've never seen anything approaching the mishandling and misconduct that I've seen in this case." Well, hopefully, it might be that the Mueller probe has reached even beyond the Ted Stevens prosecution. They just gave Judge Emmett Sullivan, evidence that was written 7 months after the alleged crime, which is the only crime was allegedly lying to an FBI agent. But that FBI agent was Peter Strzok, and when asked, Strzok, McCabe, and Comey said, "Oh yeah, he didn't lie." It was the culmination of a disastrous prosecution, the public corruption case against former U.S. Senator Ted Stevens. Stevens was convicted in October of 2008 of violating federal ethics laws by failing to report thousands of dollars in gifts he received from friends. But a team of prosecutors from the U.S. Department of Justice is accused of failing to hand over key exculpatory evidence and knowingly presenting false evidence to the jury. Now, this might be more egregious than what the Mueller probe. It's not even close to what the Mueller probe has done. But in terms of what Judge Emmett Sullivan has seen, who knows if he's going to say, well, this is not as egregious as the Ted Stevens case. But he does know, and he did mention, that they didn't care about Flynn. See, everyone knows that Michael Flynn had nothing to do with Russia. The Democrats know, the media knows. The media and the Democratic Party, they don't care. It doesn't matter. That's why when people say, well, you have to wait till Mueller, we don't want to get people too upset. Trump needs to act quickly and decisively. There is no plan, ladies and gentlemen. That's stupid. What I've been saying will take place eventually, but it could be a very long, hard-fought battle, political battle, where people can't be complacent. They have to actually be upset in a healthy manner and say and let Trump know that, hey, you know what? We might not vote for you if you don't actually do what your job is. Protect this country from criminals like Hillary Clinton, who transferred top-secret intelligence outside of the United States government onto a server that was hacked by the planet and got away with it. That's why I say eventually she will be indicted, and people around her will be indicted. It's just a matter of when Trump wants to act. He has Matthew Whitaker. He has the intelligence community it's his administration. What is he waiting for? Rest assured, he's not waiting for the okay from a message board. Trust me on that. That's absurd. But let's continue. The Stevens case is a cautionary tale. It reminds lawyers and non-lawyers alike of the power and failure of our legal system. For months, Judge Sullivan had warned U.S. prosecutors about their repeated failure to turn over evidence. Then, after the jury convicted Stevens, the Justice Department discovered previously unrevealed evidence. Meanwhile, a prosecution witness and an agent from the FBI came forward alleging prosecutorial misconduct. Finally, newly appointed U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder Jr. announced that he had enough and recommended that a seven-count conviction against the former Alaska senator be dismissed. On April 7th, Judge Sullivan did just that, but he was far from done. In an extraordinary rare move, he ordered an inquiry into the prosecutor's handling of the case. Could you imagine if he did that? Could you imagine if he ordered an inquiry into the Mueller probe? Could you imagine if he ordered an inquiry into the Mueller probe? Judge Sullivan insisted that the misconduct allegations were, quote, too serious and too numerous to be left to an internal Justice Department investigation. Hello! Judge Emmett Sullivan is already a hero. Now, if he wants to be a legend, if he wants to be remembered throughout history as saving this country from madness, he'll toss out that case against Flynn, which was an overt setup. But he appointed Washington lawyer to investigate whether members of the trial team should be prosecuted for criminal contempt. He went after the federal government. Judge Emmett Sullivan said, not only did you keep exculpatory evidence from the court, from his court, he goes, he appointed Washington lawyers to investigate whether members of the trial team, the federal government, the DOJ team, should be prosecuted for criminal contempt. It's obviously a serious and not everyday occurrence for a judge to seek an independent counsel on prosecutors, Brandt said. It's an augur for the Justice Department. This judge's tolerance was pushed to the limit. And prosecutors are not going to just go on their merry way. When judges do things like this, it tends to rattle the system a bit. Yeah, the system needs to be rattled. Now, if Trump isn't rattling the system enough, see, the system is having a temper tantrum with Trump. He's not really rattling it. He's tweeting. He's saying, I'm going to get you, and you know what, and Hillary, what about the Clinton Foundation? That's great. I want Trump to win. Because if it's not Trump doing this, nobody else has the you-know-whats to do this in the Republican Party. You want to know why Cruz, Beto O'Rourke, outspent him 3-1? But you want to know why Cruz, didn't have a, decisive victory over Beto? Drunko? Because a guy like Cruz pretends to be a populist and pretends to be for the people and pretends to be a tough guy like Trump, while at the same time having another foot with the Paul Ryans and the McCains. He is not who he says he is. He's a fake. Ted Cruz is a fake. So he's not like that tough guy who's going to take on the system. Okay? Trump is who he is, but we don't know at this point right now when he'll actually fight back. I do believe he will. Hopefully it's this term. Because he very possibly might not, I think he's going to win the second term, okay? But he might not get a second term if he doesn't fight back. And what I mean by fighting back is you have Andrew McCabe with a grand jury. Matthew Whitaker needs to indict Andrew McCabe. Again, Matthew Whitaker or Barr or the Justice Department needs to indict Andrew McCabe. And this could be used to indict Andrew McCabe. If Judge Emmett Sullivan either throws out the case or just doesn't give Flynn any jail time, obviously, he didn't do anything wrong. So there's no point in that. He's not a threat to the country. He didn't even commit a crime. He didn't even lie to the FBI. And it was a setup. But after tomorrow, or after today, I should say, because you're going to see this today, a couple hours from now, we'll know. But the system needs to be taken on. It ain't just, I can't, look, if you're watching, it's 18 minutes in, I've kept my mouth shut, okay, because I know how sensitive people are. I've kept my mouth shut for 18 minutes. I can't take it any longer. Okay. One of the biggest dangers of the QAnon thing is not just somebody snapping and hurting others and doing something insane. But the biggest danger is complacency. There is no plan. And I keep trying to tell people, predicting the future is not the job of an intelligence community official. Listen to what I'm saying and rewind that 1,000 billion trillion times. Okay? They couldn't even predict the outcome of a Michigan State football game if you spotted them 30 points. The intelligence community doesn't predict anything. They do what they're told, like a government employee, like a corporate employee. If you work for the corporation or you work for the government, you do what you're told. And if they find out, and if you are an intel officer, you sign documents saying you will keep what is given in your possession, what you have in your possession, any classified info, which you will keep sensitive data, confidential, secret, and top secret data. You will keep that safe. You will not allude to anything that you've learned in government through 8chan. That's one of the things Sather didn't understand. Because he was like, well, you've already established that there's no classified intelligence. No, you haven't. He's safe. The government's not going to go after him or anyone else, okay? Because I know that's what he was so worried about. I'm not going to tell you if I'm certain or not. You already said that, buddy. You claimed you already said that numerous times. So if the government wanted to go after you, they could easily do so, okay? But if you're not certain about what you're peddling, then understand that there are people who will not be happy with you when they find out that you have duped them and other people have duped them. Because there's people I know with their heart and soul who believe that military intel or good actors or white hats or whatever are speaking through 8chan. And if you continue to reinforce this hoax and myth and obvious bogus nonsense, and when people eventually find out that, it is impossible to do so because if they were a threat, another thing like, well, how come Trump doesn't say it's not real? Trump doesn't need to tell you the Tooth Fairy isn't real, that Santa Claus isn't real. He doesn't need to tell you that, Martians living on the moon or Mars aren't real. He doesn't need to tell you all of these things. It's not his job. He's the president of the United States. He gets clowned enough. He gets attacked enough by the media. You want to think they're going to have a field day with him. Secondly, if it was just one shred of truth to it, and they were a threat to the establishment, what do you think would happen? They would go after any military intel and arrest them immediately. Julian Assange is fighting for his life. Michael Flynn, a 33-year Army general, 3-star. They set him up. What do you think they would do to my patriots? Trust the plan. Question. Hillary will get arrested at this time, at this date. First message ever. And then say they didn't even know that the word they used was arrested. He's like, well, does it indicted? No, buddy. It says arrested. Look at your own thing that you love so much. So the point is, this is going down. It's going down in real time. And anyone who's a threat, a real threat, they go after. Even people who aren't threats. You think Roger Stone or Corsi are threats? No. But if they can link them somehow, and why don't they ask Corsi about all the intel that's speaking through 8chan? Ever wonder that? And then I get like 600 people unsubbing. Well, you know what? If you unsub from this channel, you'll be back. And the people who stay with me, I love you. Thank you. Because you have integrity and you're not part of a cult where if somebody says, hey, you know what? The leader is not all powerful. You don't say, I'm unsubbing! How dare you insult my, this thing that gives me sustenance. So I thank you, the people who stick by me. I thank you, the people who stick by me who disagree with me. I thank you, the people who stick by me, and I know there are many who can't stand when I talk about Q. And I thank you. But the Michael Flynn example is a general, a top member of the intelligence community that they went after. From a biblical sense, the whole biblical sense is like if they did it to Jesus, they would do it to anyone else. So if they did it to Michael Flynn, don't you think they would have done it to anyone below him? Yeah, they would have. They would have. They've set up people. They've tried to destroy people's lives. They tried to destroy Carter Page. Didn't work. They tried to destroy Michael Flynn. Didn't work. They tried to destroy Papadopoulos. Didn't work. They tried to destroy Manafort. They did that because he is a criminal. But they didn't do anything with Trump Russia. They tried to destroy Michael Cohen. They did that because he's a criminal. Okay, 2 out of 5 people. Now with Clinton, you take 10 people. You'll get 9 criminals. Cheryl Mills lied under oath and did a whole bunch of things. Destroyed evidence, deleted 33,000 emails, classified data in those emails. We can go on forever. Brian Pagliano, Espionage Act indictments right there. Sarah Carter, Kimberly Strassel, John Solomon, Paul Sperry, Tom Fitton, Joe DeGeneva, Victoria Tenzing. I think I said Paul Sperry, me to a lesser extent. I don't put myself with them, but I am a journalist. I am a writer. I've been published in The Hill, the second when Bill Binney. I love Bill Binney and Ray McGovern of Veteran Intelligence Professionals for Sanity. Ray McGovern is awesome. I've been on different shows with him, and he's awesome. They said, they said, yeah, the NSA has her, okay, has her emails, 33,000 deleted emails. I wrote 2 days or 3, was it like 2 weeks, 1 week, a week and a half after, in 2015, on the Congress blog. Look it up right now. H.A. Goodman, NSA Congress blog. You will get my article. Look it up on Google. The NSA has all of Hillary Clinton's, the NSA should retrieve all of Hillary Clinton's emails. I wrote about that. The NSA has her emails. Platte River Data Inc. have her emails. 2 cloud storage companies. That you never needed to go to Professor Mifsud. That you could have gone to the professor at Gilligan's Island, and you would have given you more information about Russia than Mifsud, who is linked to British intelligence, which is what Elizabeth Voss of Disobedient Media broke that story. Papadopoulos should reach out to Elizabeth Voss of Disobedient Media, but he's not. Who knows why he's not doing so? The point is, Judge Emmett Sullivan not only tossed the case out, but he went after prosecutors, corrupt prosecutors. And so you have a situation, ladies and gentlemen, where this could happen. Theoretically, if he's done it in the past, he could go after the Mueller probe prosecutors. He could do a lot of things. We need the courts to save us from Mueller. We need the courts to save us from Democrats. They used to say, "Oh, we need the courts to save us from Trump." Any grandiose, like if he oversteps his boundaries, or any president in terms of executive order, the courts step in. Okay, but now you're seeing also federal courts uphold the Second Amendment. I'm going to continue to build my Second Amendment channel, by the way. And this week I'm going to have an amazing mag dump challenge. Well, it's not really a challenge. I'm just doing it myself. I have an AR and an AK, and I'm going to just 40 rounds, full semi-auto, which is hilarious. Anyway, I'll compare the two, and on the video in my Second Amendment channel. I haven't uploaded in months, but this is going to be a grandiose, awesome one. I can tell you, I have obviously shot both. I do enjoy. I enjoy the AR, but I enjoy the AK a little bit more, and I'll explain why in the video, and you'll see the difference in how each rifle functions. And anyway, so that'll be fun. But there's no plan in life, ladies and gentlemen. You text, you could run over, God forbid, you could run over a kid, you could run over a person. If you're drunk, if you're high, and you're buzzed, you could kill someone. You could get a DUI and get $10,000, out of your pocket. You have that money to spend 10 grand? Well, there's no plan. Yeah, there's no plan in life. The plan is what you make. You make your own plan in life. If you don't do what you need to do in life every single day, make sure that you don't, get in trouble. Make sure that you do your work. Make sure that you provide food for your family. Make sure that you find some sustenance in life. Make sure that you are grateful for things. Look at the bright side of things. Make sure that you smile or laugh or whatever. If you don't do those things, there is no plan. If you don't have a goal, if you don't have an objective, if you don't have anything to look forward to, then there is no plan. Nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow. You're going to wake up tomorrow. Nobody knows. You're watching this. You don't know what's going to happen to you after this segment. There is no plan in life. The only plan we know is that there is no plan. The only plan we know, the only reality is death, taxes, and uncertainty. So when people are selling you a bunch of nonsense and baloney and bandini, but they predicted so much. That's not the job of an intelligence officer. If these people can predict, then they go and open a tarot card reading shop. That's not what the intelligence community wants. So that again isn't overt, like that exposes. The issue here is they've set up Michael Flynn. They set up one of their own because he dared to speak out What do you think they would do to a whole bunch of patriots who were messaging through 8chan? They would knock them out in 2 seconds, and they would ask Corsi for information. And even before Corsi, they would have found them and arrested them and all that stuff. It's illegal to message anything through government servers or whatever. That's craziness. But Judge Emmett Sullivan hopefully will do the right thing. You have a situation, ladies and gentlemen, where the left is possibly overextending, or possibly has overextended its maniacal attempt to harm Trump. And you have a situation where Trump needs to fight back, and if he's not fighting back, if he eventually will fight back, the federal courts need to protect us from an overreaching independent special counsel. Also, by the way, under Sessions and Rosenstein were the worst. And, trust them, trust Sessions. Sessions activate. The only thing he activated is hurting Trump. I'm going to activate. I'll activate real good. I'm going to activate the Mueller. And this way, your presidency ain't going to last. How you like me now? Call me Keebler-Elf one more time. Do it one more time. Okay? Okay, we're going to get Comey and his memos and Rosenstein, and they're going to have a Mueller probe. It's going to be all under my... any Clinton Foundation probes, it was before me, it'll be after me, whatever. People think it'll be on me, yeah. Start my new thing called LMNOP. Clinton Foundation probes happened before Jeff Sessions. They'll happen after Jeff Sessions. And Sessions really did nothing. Huber did nothing. He didn't even show up. Which reminds me of this one guy on the left. He's like, I say good man. Oh, I have friends on left, right. A lot of people love me. I say good man is a real lunatic. He doesn't even know George Orwell would love the Mueller probe. Oh my God. That's a whole other story. Anyway, look, tomorrow is going to be a landmark day. Whatever happens, if it's thrown out, oh my God, that'd be great. And then I get, the great one, the LMNOP predicted this. First of all, so what? Secondly, of course, I was saying since 2017 that when it was going down, before the first Q post ever, I said, yeah, he's fine. Trump should have defended him. He didn't do anything wrong, and nothing's going to happen to Flynn. Go and look at my videos in 2017 regarding this, and I said that Trump should have backed him up. That's another thing. In life, what Trump did was enable bullies to bully. When you enable, they take a finger, take the arm, take the hand, take everything. And people ask you, and it's also in life too, I've learned this the hard way, and I'm sure you have also. You have people in your life, you meet people, whether they're good people, bad people, whatever happens in their life. They can be great people, great human beings, but they had a tough life, whatever. They ask for favors, and they ask for more favors. It's never enough. It's the same thing with the left. You can be trying to be down with the cause. It's never enough. But my heart is pure. Oh, no, you know what? You're actually helping Trump. What? What do you mean? Okay, then I'm like, you know what? Peace between North and South Korea is pretty dang good. I'd rather be a Trump supporter. It's never... There are people who will never accept... They will never... Bullies, generally, you can tell a bully. It doesn't even matter whether they're they're under the guise of, some kind of good... altruistic thing. It could be like a very good thing. Like there are principles like on the left, it could be great principles. But you try to articulate things in your own way and, oh my gosh, it's offensive. And then they say, oh my, you're out of the cult. Oh, you know what? You're a blasphemer. You blaspheme. Oh, you're not pure enough. Oh, you're helping the right. Oh, you know what? You're a sympathizer, enabler, supremacist. And then they go with the euphemisms that George Orwell called verbal refutes. Look it up, buddy. This is the love child of... I'm speaking about the love child of Sam Cedar and David Pakman. Look it up. George Orwell wrote Why I Write, and he has a line. And if you watch this channel, you know you might not know who I'm speaking to, but there's a line. He calls euphemisms verbal refuse. Okay? Now, I don't even use the word. There are euphemisms the right uses or conservatives use, but on the left, they only use euphemisms. They rely on euphemisms because they really have no vantage point. They want to just any logical rebuttal, they want to just marginalize with an all-encompassing word. Supremacist, enabler, sympathizer, anything. And you can put any other word before that to create this monstrosity of a euphemism. Anyway, the point is, Trump was never going to appease them. And he was given bad advice from the very beginning. Oh, well, Flynn had issues with Turkey also, and, you really don't want to defend him. That could take you down. No, not defending him almost took Trump down because they said, oh, well, James Comey lied. They went ahead and they started an investigation based on gossip from James Comey. Gossip from James Comey. The Comey memos are gossip. The Comey memos are absolute lies and gossip. And then today he starts chastising people because he's been lying and lying and lying and lying and lying. Act. He committed crimes. Act. Look, there's a grand jury already for Andrew McCabe. Okay? There's a grand jury already for Andrew McCabe. Why is he not indicted yet? Why is he not indicted? You have Matthew Whitaker. You don't even have to start with Clinton. There's a grand jury. Look it up. I don't need to tell you through Bible verses and an Easter egg hunt or a wild goose chase. You don't see H.A. Goodman. You take the left on the fork of the road, and there'll be a big rock, and underneath the rock there'll be a sign, and underneath that sign there'll be a sign. And go up the tree, and then you see there's a letter that says McCabe has a grand jury. You found it. Ding 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 ding. Bingo. I've done so much research because of H.A. No, go look it up. Google The Hill, the Washington Post. It's public record. It's public record. Public record. Andrew McCabe has a grand jury investigating him. And do something, Whitaker. What are you waiting for? So January, I believe they're going to act. I believe that from January to June, we're going to see something real good because it has to happen before elections. And the election season starts in June. Then they say, oh, well, this is a clear attempt at influencing the election. He's doing it again. Start before Barr. Start before the AG gets... Then it'll be, start the ball rolling. Get the wheels of government rolling on your end, Trump. You have the government in your control, Trump. President Trump, you have the government now. Do what you need to do. Act decisively, because there's no plan in life, and you know that. You make your own plan. The media will hate you no matter what. They are going to hate you no matter what. The Democrats will hate you no matter what. The media, the Democrats in Hollywood, will either fabricate evidence, pay for evidence, like the Steele dossier and CrowdStrike, thrust us into a new Cold War. They have no ethics, they have nothing. They don't care. Hillary Clinton calls black youth super predators. They're no problem. They call everyone racist. They shield her from racism. Okay. Clinton, Iraq, Libya, BuzzFeed did a whole report on Libya now. Well, guess who? Obama did all of that. And if Trump doesn't destroy a country like Libya, he will have had a better president no matter what happens. But if you want to also talk about his foreign policy, a million times better, peace between North and South Korea is an amazing thing. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now if you've lasted this long. And then also, I get from people like, oh, well, there's ads on your channel. Yeah, And you know how much, just to let you know, I'm not pretending that I'm speaking as a conduit for military intelligence officers who are disseminating classified intelligence from 8chan, the darkest reaches of the internet. That's the most absurd, ridiculous conspiracy theory that's very dangerous. I'm not peddling that nonsense. I'm a journalist, published places, been on CNN, MSNBC. I've been more right than I have been wrong, but I have been wrong on things, and I'm a human being, so you know who I am. And so I'm an independent journalist, and independent journalists need to, this is what I do. So if this is what I do, and people are like, well, it's not that, it's like, well, yeah, you don't really mind those people peddling nonsense making a bank. And that's the thing, when you sell your soul for nonsense, you sell your soul, it doesn't last. It doesn't last. It ain't lasting. You can go through other fads. Have they lasted? No. There are a whole bunch of channels talking about a different version of that nonsense 2 years ago. They're no longer there. Same thing will happen with the Q thing. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. You need to look at public record. You need to look at what President Trump is doing, what he will do, based on the public record. And you need to look at what Judge Emmett Sullivan does tomorrow, or today, I should say, because it is whatever he does, it's going to undermine the Mueller probe. If he tosses it out, it'll just completely, it'll be like an uppercut to the chin for Mueller. From Judge Emmett Sullivan. But you know what? It'll be, just a great shot to the kidneys if it's just no jail time, for Flynn. So either way, whatever Sullivan does, it'll be great, and Michael Flynn will be exonerated. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. There's going to be a very good time for President Trump very soon because of this. Thank you so very, very much for your support. And thank you, even though if you disagree with me also and you still stick by me, I appreciate that. And I thank you for your